Hey game developers, it's Bilal from Zenfinity.net here, and what we're going to do in this video is quite different from usual. This is going to be the first developer video log here, where I kind of show you what's going on in one of my current projects. And this one is a turn-based kind of tank game that's like, it's kind of a strategy game where it'll be a turn-based. It's similar, actually, it's most similar to Worms, where a player will be able to control one worm per turn, and then it'll cycle to the next player and the next worm of that respective player. And he'll be able to move him a certain distance, or actually in Worms there's a timer. And then you're forced to choose a weapon during that period of time, otherwise your turn will just play through. And so it's kind of it's a strategy game based on positioning and using the right tools, I guess, for the job. You know, for example, which shell would be best to use for a certain situation. So now that I kind of got the design of the game out of the way, I kind of want to walk you through like what's in this project here. And the reason I want to do that is because I feel like a lot of new programmers out there think that there's some sort of shame in using things that other people have developed, which is a completely ridiculous mindset. I'm just going to say that flat out. Like, don't have that mindset. Do not be afraid to use things that other people have made, unless they are not sufficient for the job for whatever reason. So I do use a lot of assets here to speed up the workflow. And not only is it other people's stuff, but it's things that I use throughout every Unity project. So let me show you in my assets here, and then my scripts folder. Every one of my projects has this folder called Zengine here, which is a compilation of things that I need for Unity that I can kind of just drag and drop into a new project, and it'll make my workflow so much easier. So it's kind of essentially an engine that works throughout all my different projects, and I'm able to just develop it with each new game. I added it as a Git submodule, which is essentially, if you don't know what Git is, it's a version control system that lets you manage your project both with backup and collaboration. And it also just makes it really easy to manage your project in general across computers. So I always have a Git submodule of Zengine here so that I can update it from each project that I work in, and then once I edit it in one project, I can easily pull those edits into a different project, and then have a faster workflow in both. So that's kind of a big plus. So I mean, like, let me give you an example here. I kind of have a Unity extensions folder, which commonly will use this syntax of kind of extending a custom class. So like using this game object as a parameter here will allow me to type game object.don'tDestroy on load. Just call that function, and then that'll do something here. So here's the big one: is I constantly have these scripts following me around in every project, and that's kind of how game engines get developed. Now, obviously, I'm not trying to develop something I'll use outside of Unity. This is kind of a Unity. Right now, it's all helpers, but at some point, I guess it'll turn into something more if I bother for that. So there's a big one: is I kind of always pull around my engine. And now we'll focus on the assets that I use. So if I can use an asset to get something done without compromising my goal, I will 9 times out of 10 do it, as long as it's not too expensive. So I mean, here, let's see, I'm using Pro Builder here. So here's Procore, actually the bundle. Pro Grids, Pro Builder, Pro Groups. Highly recommend Procore. All the assets actually, and I'm using PlayFab here to manage player accounts, which I'll show you in a second. And we also have Doozy UI here, which makes it easy to do UI transitions. And there's a damage number system I have here. Another thing is, this is actually an unpaid asset here. It shows all the scenes in a build, so I can click one of them, and it'll load a different scene right there. And finally, I think the last thing I'm probably going to talk about is you can see my hierarchy view here has a lot of details, and I believe it's called Hierarchy Pro. Maybe it's in local assets here. let's see, local assets. So yeah, oh yeah, and here's also universal sound effects. Highly recommend that. It's a universal sound effects pack. It is what it is. So your E modules hierarchy. So yeah, there's this hierarchy pro here, which basically allows for descriptions, and it shows basically just a much more detailed view, like what's on these, and it makes my hierarchy a lot easier to look at. So highly recommend hierarchy pro here. Just makes your Unity look a lot nicer. Okay, so with all that said, why don't we go ahead and hop into what the actual game is. Sorry we took so long looking at the assets. What I'm going to do here is first, I'm going to disable my auto login so I can give you a quick demonstration of how that works. Let me see, main menu manager, login manager, let's turn off login automatically. Okay, so yeah, I have this playfab system working here. That's my username. And so I can press create account. This is actually using a player pref system, so if I've logged in before, it'll skip this create account thing and go to login. So I can just type in my password and it remembers my username here since I have that checked. So I mean, I believe that was my password if I did not change it. And yeah, if I hit login, it'll, on success, use a callback to go to the menu here. And as you can see, I am using these assets from the Unity Tanks demo. I will be adding in new assets soon once the models are created and once I do some more work. And this menu is kind of, I looked at some other games. A big inspiration was Team Fortress, actually, for this kind of menu design and the color accents. So a lot of this stuff is inspired by other games, trying to communicate things that I like in what this game is. So since we have playfab here, we can kind of look at my inventory. It'll actually pull from the internet here. And it looks like this account doesn't have any inventory items, but let's see the catalog here. We can see all these items here that just got loaded from the store. You currently can't buy anything, but that functionality will come soon. Okay, and I have this play button that allows for creating a quick match. This does not work right now, but what it will be is a matchmaking system that will use playfab to make players just hop into a 1v1 match automatically. And then we have this custom match system here, which does load in lobbies. It's using Unity's system, but modified. And I can also create a lobby, and there it is. So I'll hit play since those lobbies aren't correctly destroyed right now. Actually, I'll turn on the auto login again because I believe the other account has an inventory here. So let me go ahead and see, check this login automatically. Let's save, and I'll play. And let's see. Yeah, so it automatically logs in. I believe this account that auto logs in is a different one. So yeah, you can actually see my inventory items loaded here. And maybe at some point I'll show you my playfab dashboard, but I don't think in this video I will, because I'm not sure if I can right now. So yeah, those are the big things there. So let's go ahead and check out the test room, which is where I've been doing a lot of testing. This is currently only the single player. I actually did program multiplayer, but there's an issue with syncing the physics. That's going to take a lot more time than I actually anticipated that it would. You'd think it's kind of a trivial thing because of how many multiplayer games there are out there now, but it's actually not. There is a lot of work involved in syncing physics. But it does, for the most part. For example, like shooting bullets in multiplayer does work correctly, and picking turns works correctly. It's just the physics syncing which is kind of causing a bother. Okay, so enough talking about that. So what you can see here is it just became my turn, and we're in the move state of my turn, so I can move around, choose my position, and once this timer is out, it'll auto-deploy, or I can press this button down here that will change me into deploy mode. So you can see this arc here. I can increase my force, and I can change my angle using W and S and left and right on the arrow keys. And so the arc is not 100% correct, but if I fire here, we can see my my shell go and launch and hit somewhere. It'll wait a little bit and go back to the next player's turn, which in this case is only this tank and only me as a player, since we're in the single player testing mode. So that's kind of like everything that's going on right now in the project. I'll show you multiplayer probably in the next video once I get this rigid body problem correct. But yeah, I believe that that's everything. So big takeaways. It's a strategy game, and if you are afraid of using other people's stuff, stop. Make sure if a software works well for your goal, then use it. Yeah, I think that is everything I have to say. So if you like this video, make sure to hit that like button. And actually let me know in the comments if you want to see more developer logs. I'd be happy to show you what I'm working on, and go into the challenges. And if you want to see even more technical stuff, or if you want to ask me how I solved a certain issue, write that in the comments. Ask me, please. I'm happy to answer that sort of stuff. And yeah, subscribe if you want to see not only more developer logs or more on this tanks game here, which is currently unnamed. If you want to see, tutorials and how to do stuff in Unity, and more content coming soon on all that. So I will see you in the next video with that said, and have a good one.